Hello, welcome to Football Journeys, a B5 Consultancy podcast presented by me, Matt Himsworth.
And me, Fraser Franks. Football Journeys is a podcast that ignores the glitz and the glamour of the beautiful game in favour of the pain, the graft and the rejection.
For my part, I've been a media lawyer for nearly 20 years now, and I work with clubs and I work with players to help protect their reputation, their privacy, but ultimately it's about protecting the well-being of the young men and women that go through that journey through the game that we love.
And for me, I've been through that journey. I was an academy player at Chelsea and Brentford before setting on a career in the lower leagues with the likes of Luton Town, Stevenage and Newport County, before my career ended at the age of 28 owing to a heart defect.
B5 Consultancy is about combining that experience to help players young and old to make good decisions off the pitch, but also to be there to support players when life doesn't go according to plan.
In this series, we're talking to Liverpool FC's class of 2013-14. Those lads that came through that famous academy at Kirkby but didn't quite make it through to realise their Anfield dream.
This is Football Journeys. This week we were joined at the Hope Street Hotel by Robles. Half Scouse, half Spanish, he was a prolific goalscorer in his early years at Kirkby, but would later make the bold decision to leave Liverpool's academy just months into his scholarship when he moved down the pecking order. He completed his scholarship at Wigan Athletic, where he was again prolific and made his championship debut at the age of 18. He would leave Lancashire though, and after a short spell in the United States, he would go on to follow his dad's Spanish roots, first to Atletico Baleares on the island of Mallorca, and then on to Andalusia and San Roque de Lepa in Spain's Tertia division. He is now back in the UK, in the top division in Wales, with the New Saints, where he has been gunning for European glory, and has his eyes set on climbing back to the top of the game that he loves. Thanks for joining us, Louis.
Thanks.
As I said, half Spanish, half Scouse, but a passionate Red.
I am, yeah. I am. As I say, when you go to school in Liverpool, it's either red or blue.
Yeah.
As I was picked up by Liverpool since a young age, 9, that was what followed me. Just being a Red, pretty much.
And your dad being Spanish, big football fan,
yeah.
And we'll talk about Spanish football culture in a bit, and you learned a hell of a lot as a player there, but you would have learned a lot through your dad. So I guess in many ways you had a sort of a dual cultured household, and that transcended into football as well.
Most definitely. I got brought up speaking Spanish and English. My dad, especially when I was younger, would always speak to me in Spanish, so I'd listen to the language, the culture. My dad's very big on food. His meal times are very Spanish, you know, eat late, and the size of the meals are very proportionate to the Spanish culture. And as I say, that just stuck with me from everyday life, just the culture of Spain, living in England.
And that's something that you wanted to pursue a bit later on in your career, but was football a big part of growing up, and was that your dad's influence or were there other influences that moved you towards the game?
Yeah, it's the biggest part of my life when I was younger. All I can remember when I was younger was playing football, going to the park, in school, just always playing football. I had 2 older brothers who were big football fans as well, who helped me a lot. They would always help me practice and go to the park with me and take me to 5-a-side matches, you know, around the corner. But ultimately it was my dad who pushed me in that direction, yeah.
Talk us through what was the process of you going to Liverpool. A lot of the other lads that we've spoken to had interest from Everton as well. Talk us through how you ended up getting that trial and, you know, your first couple of sessions and how it went after that.
So there was a satellite camp in Grafton where a few of the lads were there, and from that camp they'd select maybe 1, 2 or 3 at the very most to actually go to the trial in the academy itself. And I was selected under 8, but I actually had appendicitis when I was on holiday in Spain, which set me back a year. But luckily I come through it and I got myself back at Marshall doing well, and I got a second opportunity to go to the trial at Liverpool. It was a 6-week trial. I remember you play in 2 or 3 games, but you train every day with them.
Was it daunting going in there on day one?
No, not for me. No, I was scoring like 4 or 5 goals a game at my level, yeah. So I was just like, I was looking around the changing room, and I was quite big for me. It wasn't massive, but I was big, and I was going, I'm big in him, I should be alright, you know what I mean? So that was my thought process. I wasn't scared or nervous at all. I was just relishing the opportunity. And I always remember, I think it was Paul Lever called me in after the 6 weeks with my mother, and he said, you know, we're touch and go whether we're going to sign you, but we think you've just done enough, so we're going to sign you. And then at that point, I was like, just done enough. So just to prove again that I'm even better than that. So that was my journey, yeah.
But at the academy at Kirby, you were flying. There's 4 names I think that come up when Fraser and I talk to the boys of your year group, and that's Rossiter, it's Kent, it's Wilson, and it's Robles. So you were the 4 boys that were flying, and I think what's quite interesting in the early years at academies, that there is a rule in place that you can only travel in from a certain distance, and I think Harry Wilson was about the limit of that from coming from North Wales. But a lot of the lads that were coming in early doors were, you know, you were a group of Scousers, and then lads came in from outside of Liverpool, lads from Manchester or the South or whatever else. Was it difficult when they started to bring more lads in, more competition for places? You know, you described a supremely confident 9-year-old boy. What was the, 14, 15-year-old Louis Robles like?
Initially, no. I think from the ages of under 9 to about 15, you get trials in every week pretty much, and it was a case of, I'll be better than him, no worries, I'll be better than him. But when you get to under 16 to 18 to the ones who got to the reserve level, then you start bringing in players from abroad and from Chelsea, from Arsenal, on trial or signed. That's when it starts getting difficult, because then it's sort of not in your hands. It is in your hands, and it's not in your hands in the sense that they might get more opportunities than you, they might be more in favour than you. So that's what, for me, when it starts getting difficult, about under 16, 18 level.
And I've got two names to throw at you, the competition for places. So there's a great player at West Bromwich Albion, Jerome Sinclair, tearing up trees down there, and the club pay a fee for him. I don't know what the fee was, but it was some money, some serious money. So Jerome comes in. I mean, what's your response to Jerome when he comes in, and what's your response within yourself when they bring in a player for money like that?
Well, I was well aware of the competition as soon as he got to the academy. I was aware he was my age. When he first came to Liverpool, he was always a year above. So I kept my shirt in my age group, where I was doing well. 15, 16, to be probably best 2 years at Liverpool, if I'm being honest. But I always knew there'd be a point where he would always be a year above me. There'd be a point, if it was UT, if it was higher, it would be a direct competition. So even though it was a year or 2 in advance, I always knew it would come a day when I'd have to face that fact. And he was flying, he was, when he was at Liverpool. He come in and hit the ground running. We went to Switzerland in the Swiss Cup, and he got best player tournament. I was pushed out wide, he was number 9, and he was great, do you know what I mean? So I always knew of his talent and ability, and it would be difficult to overcome that, especially with the fee he paid. But that's just part and parcel of being at Liverpool at that age. It was, you get to a certain age and then you get 3 or 4 lads to do on you, and you need to be better than them.
Were you conscious of the fact, I think that Jerome was dubbed with the kind of, oh, this could be the next Raheem Sterling, and then you saw Raheem come up from QPR in London, Jerome comes from West Brom in Birmingham. That's a problem for you if he is the next Raheem Sterling, because he's going to be playing in the first team and you're not.
Massive problem, and he did play in the first team. He got an appearance. I think he was the youngest player to play for Liverpool, I think, when he done it. As I say, yeah, it was a big reality check that this might be a blocked pathway for me now, with Jerome coming in when I'm only 15, 16. Who else is going to come in the years to come, which we find out there will be a few more.
Well, I was going to say that brings us on to the next, you know, if it's not bad enough that they're bringing in talented lads from across the UK, they then bring out a Spanish lad, so from your dad's homeland, and no less from the La Masia Barcelona Academy, they bring in Sergi Canos. Sergi's one of the lads we're going to speak to, and we've spoken to Sergi before, and he has nothing but nice things to say about you and your efforts to integrate him in, to speak to him in Spanish and to make his life easy, which is a credit to you. So I'm going to give you the compliment before asking you, how did you respond to Sergi, and was there an excitement of bringing Spanish players in, because you know your Spanish origins mean a lot to you, but this lad's going to take your place in the team.
Yeah, Sergi coming was very, very difficult for me. It was very difficult. I come off a good season in the 16s, worked hard in the off season to start my youth team flying. Day 1 of pre-season, Sergi's there. The rumour is a couple million, whatever. And he was a forward player. So initially it was difficult. What made it even worse was that I was pushed out for him. But I I had to make him feel welcome because I was only spoke the language, I was his age. So I had to basically teach him what I knew about the place for him to take my place, which was, at that age, you can imagine it was, and the way I am, that I've got too much pride for that. I'd done it because, you know, it's not Sergi's fault. He's just a normal lad who's got a good chance, and fair play to him. He's a lovely lad, Sergi, great lad, got nothing but good things to say about him. But for me, it was difficult. You know, there was times when I thought, am I here to be a translator or a footballer? And that's the honest truth. I'll always remember one of the things that set me over the edge. Sergi was upstairs having a meeting with Barclays and his family about setting up a bank account, and I got asked to go up and translate while my team were doing a gym session. So I had to miss my gym session and a chance to improve to translate for this new lad who's taken my place to sort out his bank account for him. So it's just stuff like that just gives me it's just a tough pill to swallow.
One remarkable aspect of life at a top Premier League academy is how quickly fortunes can change with such competition for places. Louis reflected on his early teenage years where he was scoring goals for fun and one of the top dogs, before very quickly moving down the pecking order and questioning his future at the club.
It was around Christmas time, I think. We played Man United and Man City. I think I scored about 6 or 7 goals in them 2 games in a week. The week after, I got a phone call, bring your dads to the training, to Kirby, and have a meeting before training. So I was like, oh, I'm in trouble here, because you never get asked to bring your parents to a meeting or anything like that during the season. So I was like, oh no, I'm so nervous. And then I got called in, and he was like, no, we're going to have your scholarship, you've done enough. So I was like, over the moon. I was in shock, and then 16s, again, was a great year. I was on the brink of playing for England that year. I always remember, an England scout went to my mum, he's on the list, don't worry, he could get a call up any minute now. So it was, you know, it was a good season. I scored against Chelsea, United, Spurs, so it was a good year for me. And even though I knew it would come to a point where I'd have a direct competition with Jerome, I thought, even if I play on the out wide or in behind them, or I thought I'd be okay, because I think I'd done enough under 16 to warrant that privilege. But yeah, as soon as I got through the door, Sergi was there, Dan Strickett-Smith now was playing as a number 9.
And he's another one they paid a fee for from Crewe.
Yeah, and initially, well, he's a midfield player, so he was a number 10. And I'll always remember I went to America with the squad. Jerome wasn't there for some reason. I don't think, well, I can't remember. Anyway, there was a point where there wasn't a recognised number 9 available for a match, and I'd scored in the first game coming off the bench against Fudicol from Colombia, and he started Dan Smith in front of me as number 9, and I remember a few lads looking at me going, what's going on here? And that's when the realisation kicks in, because I always think when there's a reason not to put you, then there's a reason to worry. I was on the bench for a few of the under 18 league games. I think they lost a few games as well. They weren't doing too well at this point, and I wasn't getting a sniff at all. There was a few games where they never scored, wouldn't get through one, and I was always known as a goal scorer, always throughout my time at Liverpool. So it just got to a point when I just couldn't take no more. I couldn't. I've got too much pride, so I did. I went into Frankie Mack's office.
This is the academy director at the time.
Yeah. I just knocked on his door and said, what's going on here? Please explain to me why I'm not playing, and if it's not going to change, then I think I want to leave. And he was like, he just explained the situation, that it was difficult, lads coming in and all that. And I was like, well, I respect that, but I need to do what's best for my career. He was like, just wait a year, in the second year, it might be different, you never know. And I said, well, I'm not in a position to do this for a whole year, I want to go out and play. So I had to convince him, really. Not much, but a little bit, you know, that I wanted to leave, and this is what I really wanted to do. So I just left.
Louis' decision to leave the club was a bold one, but it is one that Liverpool stalwart Jamie Carragher believes is the right one, and a decision that he would have made for himself in the same circumstances.
No, I'd have left, 100%. I love football too much. I couldn't not have my boots on every week and not be playing. I mean, it wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have allowed it to happen. I won't allow it to happen to my son. It won't happen. I'm a big believer in playing at the level you're at. I'm not a big fan of players who be squad players the whole life. I hate them. I say I hate them. I don't hate them individually, but I just hate the concept of it. Third choice keepers, players who say they've won all kinds of trophies and they were sub, pisses me off. And I just got no respect for them at all. And I don't believe they have won anything. Even in the Liverpool squad now, I've won the league or I've won the Champions League. No, you didn't. You're not good enough to be in a team who wins the league. You're good enough to be a squad player, but I could have done that. I could have done that for Real Madrid or Barcelona. No problem. I won everything or Champions League every year. You know, that for me, where's your level? And that would be my advice to my son or any young player. Don't hang around pretending you're a Liverpool player till you're 21, 22, and you've got a nice car and you've got a few quid. Get out. You're not a Liverpool player. You're not a Liverpool player till you play.
So your decision was to leave, and I guess I'm right in saying that your best mate Adam Anson was at Wigan at the time, so presumably you tapped him up to say, what's it like down there? And the answer probably was the facilities are atrocious, but I'm having a good time. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, it was a very quick turnaround. I could have went to West Brom, but my parents were like, no, don't go that far at a young age. And I was like, yeah, but in the Premier League, though, why not? You know, it's Cat 1, it's good. But then Wigan came calling. They watched me in like a friendly that we played for Liverpool, just like on a Tuesday night or something, and they were willing to sign me straight away. I was a bit like, I don't know if I want to go to Wigan. I've never played against them because of different categories, so I don't know what's like, what the training ground's like, the level. So it was all new, but I knew Adam was there, so yeah, I rang Adam, and he was like, yeah, come, it's good, it's a good laugh, you like it here. So I did a week there to see if I liked it. I remember playing Carlisle away on Carlisle youth team away as my first game on a rugby pitch, and yeah, that was where I thought this really what I want to do now.
And were you playing the type of football that Liverpool like to play on that rugby pitch?
We tried to, but it was difficult, as you can imagine. It was not what I'm used to at all. From 10 years at Liverpool playing on Kirby's perfect pitches to now going away to Carlisle youth team. You know, it was difficult to take in such a short space of time. All this happened in a matter of 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks probably from end of pre-season to when this happened. It was a very quick turnover. My thought process was, I'm dropping down a level, I should be the best player. So ultimately, I should get back to where I want to be.
Was that important to you?
Massively. I liked to feel like I was the main man. I did. That's why when what happened at Liverpool happened, it was tough for me because I was for so many years in and around that top benchmark, and then all of a sudden I was like dropping down and down and down, so it was difficult. Whereas at Wigan, my thought process was go there and be the best.
And it did work out like that. In your second year as a scholar, you scored 40 goals that season.
Yeah.
You ended up on the bench for the first team for quite a sustained period and made your debut against Brentford. So, I mean, at that point, I presume the answer is must be yes, you felt as though you made the right decision.
At that point, yeah, I don't think there was many in my Liverpool age group who had made a senior appearance at this point. I was on the bench after the turn of the year, my second year scholar, for a few months consecutively. Reading away, Charlton, Cardiff, Blackpool. There were some big clubs who I was up against. I remember being on the bench against Charlton and Gomez on the bench next to me, Joe Gomez, and I'm over up next to him. And look what he's happened, you know what I mean? We were the same age. So at that age, I think I was doing probably as good as I could have done personally, in terms of progression and where I was at.
And tell me about stepping on the pitch. It was at Griffin Park, it was away at Brentford.
Yeah.
That's you, professional footballer, you play professional football. That's one of the ticks off on the box of the ambitions, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Wigan were already down at the time. That week, the manager did mention that he was going to throw a few young lads in. So once he said that, I was like, I was excited because I thought I've definitely got a good shout here coming on.
Louis is going to travel with us. Yeah, we've obviously got a few injuries and suspensions up front. So Louis is going to travel with us. He's going to train with us and travel today. And as I said, hopefully we'll get the opportunity to see different players and see the potential that they have to bring to the squad for next season.
It was me and Jordan Flores, who's also our Spanish, funnily enough, from Wigan, who come on for half an hour, and it was unbelievable there. You know, just even looking around and there's 20,000 fans there, or however many there was. Brentford were pushing for promotion to the Premier League at the time, so it was unbelievable. And in my team, we had likes of Scott Carson in goal, Harry Maguire centre back, Jermaine Pennant. All these were on the pitch with me at the time.
Did you feel like you belonged on that pitch?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Did you feel comfortable stepping into a senior dressing room, and what were the differences between, you know, the youth team dressing room and the first team? Was it a little bit more brutal if you made a mistake or things like that, or?
Well, bearing in mind, I've been training the first team every day now for months, so.
And you always felt confident and comfortable training there?
Yeah, definitely. I remember the first time Malcolm Mackay brought me up to train the first team, and like I couldn't believe how well I was doing in the session, because I thought I'd struggle personally. I thought I've been training with my youth team for 2 years, and now I'm going with the first team. This could be a bit difficult, but I fit in all right. I did. Maybe training at Liverpool with the first team a couple of times. I was in the youth team, put me in good stead. I don't know, but I done all right. The wrong move.
So you then do your 1 year pro.
Yeah.
Without wishing to give spoilers away to the listeners, I mean, it doesn't go brilliantly well for you. And when was the writing on the wall that it wasn't going to
Right at the start. Right at the start. I was with the first team all through pre-season. I was coming on for half an hour in the games. Southport, Altrincham. And then the under-23s actually had a trip to Denmark to get a few games in, go to training camp and so forth, which I was meant to go on. So I was happy because this would be my first time to hit 90 minutes. But no, the first team were due to go to Scotland to play Partick Thistle and Dundee, and I got asked to go with the first team, which I was happy about. I was buzzing. And then Caldwell said, the manager at the time, Gary Caldwell, you're going to start one of the games, so be prepared. Which I did. I started against Partick Thistle, and I always remember after 10 minutes I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. The lack of games I had in pre-season prior to that was paid dividends, because I was absolutely shattered. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't run. I didn't do too badly. I didn't do well. I didn't do bad. I just done all right. You know, just. But when you're a young lad fighting for a first team place, that's not. You have to be one of the best. Otherwise, you're just gonna get left behind. I came back and we played Bolton in the senior Lancashire Cup. Bolton had a lot of first team lads playing. We had Untold playing, and we won 3-2. And I scored a hat-trick that game. So I thought, that's it. I'm back with the first team now. Nothing.
No. We've touched on, you know, you've left Liverpool now. You're 18 and your pro contract, and you're probably closer to the first team and in and around it than the Liverpool lads.
Yeah.
But some of these lads, you know, your Jordan Rosses, they're now pros at Liverpool on, you know, probably better money.
Yeah.
You know, you've signed this contract. I take it back to my own days. I was released from Chelsea. As I said, I was on £150 a week at Brentford. These lads were now pros at Chelsea on, you know, big money. Did you like compare careers? Did you try and act to them as if you're more than you were, or try and do anything different?
No, I was never one to act like I had more than I got. I'm not like that at all. I'm quite honest with where I'm at and what I've got.
You didn't feel any pressure in the, you know, you're going into Wigan and in a little course and you've got players in, you know, Porsches and.
I didn't care about any of that. It would have been nice to have that, but it didn't bother me, because at the end of
there's a big pressure in football for young lads to think, oh, I need to try and, you know, I need to do what they're doing, or that kind of thing. But you know, you do seem like you're
wash bag. I need a flash car.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm very much so. Like I know we'll put touch on it later on, but when I was come back from Spain to come to Grimsby town, I needed a new car because the travelling back and forth from Liverpool Grimsby twice a week was a lot. So I always remember I was with my dad, and then I was going, I think I might get like a little Mercedes or BMW, and he was like, no, you're not getting that. Don't go there your first day and think you big time, just get a normal car. And I was like, you know what, you're right, yeah, I'm going to do that. I know players now who've got a nice 2 or 3 year lease car who are out of contract. how they affording that lease now.
It's a contract just like a football one, and that's what they need to understand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'm buzzing to this day that I decided what I did, and I still drive the Ford Focus now, and it's a good runner, and I don't care. My shirt in my room, my Wigan debut top with the photos underneath means more to me than a Mercedes.
I always say memories over money.
Well, that's it.
So how does it feel when you are, cast to the side a little bit, and you've gone from being the main man at Liverpool, the main man in the youth team, and now you're a little bit, you're in a position where, you don't feel valued, and you don't feel, is your confidence dropping, or are you still?
Well, no, because I was still scoring goals for 23s. I think my return was 15 and 15 for the 23 side. I scored a hat-trick on my last game for Wigan against Morecambe, and I got released the next day. So it was, it wasn't like I was doing horrendous. When I was with the first team, was my confidence not what it was when I was a year before on the bench? Definitely. I would do things the year before that I wasn't probably doing now, and my level probably dropped in that sense. But with my own age group, I was still doing what I was always doing.
So you do a really abrupt sort of change of path when you release Bolton, which is to fly off to the States.
Yeah.
And you had an offer to go to Limestone in South Carolina. And my American geography is not great. It's just to the east of Florida, so it's proper South America. Where on earth did that come from? Bearing in mind, only a season before, you're on the path to playing championship football.
Well, that's it. To this day, I still wonder how that happened. But throughout my career, I do take radical changes, as we all know. I think at this point, I was expecting to get like a Sheffield or Leeds, Huddersfield, 23 side to come in for me, and for me to go back into 23s, because of what my goal return was throughout the ages. I was with the first team, as a youth team player, played. I thought I'd get a club easily. The coach there was very proactive with me. He'd messaged me a lot, FaceTime me, promote his college really in a good light. And as I say, got to the point where it was late on in the window now, and I was losing faith and hope in the country, in my agents. And I was getting to the point where I thought, I'm sick of this country, I'm sick of the politics, I'm sick of what's happened, and I just want to get out and just start something fresh somewhere new.
And what was the standard like for you? I mean, your record shows you scored a lot of goals, and they had some pretty enthusiastic commentators.
Looks like Robles is going to be the man to take the free kick. He is.
Let's see if Robles wants to try and bend this over the outside towards that back post.
A lot of white shirts in the wall. We'll see if they try and create an opening. Instead, they're going to break onto the far side. Robles goes for that corner. It's in! What a free kick by Luis Robles!
I mean, apart from the games against Fife and Wingate, they were two top sides. So you're basically there for two good games.
Yeah.
But again, it's a chance to get confidence again, feel like you're the man again. I embraced it. I like that feeling. I like feeling important. I think that's important for me, is to feel important and to do well, do well for the team and feel wanted. That's a big one in my career, feeling wanted. And now being out there, I got into contact with a lot of Spanish lads. You play for Real Betis, you play for Elche, top clubs out there. And through that, an agent got me a move to Atletico Baleares, which is a top tier 3 side in Spain. German owners, a lot of money, a lot of investment. It's Mallorca's derby, it's the island's rival. So it was I didn't know much about it at the time, but it was a brilliant opportunity for me.
Yeah, I mean, when that came up, so I think I'm right in summarising that you basically came home for the Christmas break.
Yeah.
And in that time, you've made these contacts, you're talking to Spanish agents, you're desperate to get up to your dad's homeland, to go and play in Spain, to your home for Christmas. Are there some clubs in the UK that are ringing on your door as well?
Loads. No, this is what I'm saying. Like the exposure and the people I met through the college system in America brought me so many opportunities. I got a trial at Coventry through one of the lads at Limestone. Like, my agent couldn't get me a trial at Coventry, but now my mate at Limestone got me one. So it's just football. It's a lot of who you know. I've come to learn. Now the Coventry one was terrible luck. I was there for 2 days on a 2-day trial. After the first day, the manager gets sacked. So the new manager come in, and on the second day, I went in. It's Russell Slade. I went into his office and went inside, Russell, I'm a trialist. I don't know if you noticed me or not, but this is my last day. Like, what's what? And he was like, look, I've just come in. I don't know you. I'm just trying to see who we've got and what I can bring in. We'll ring you or something for the game. And I was like, okay, fine. Nothing's going to come from it. He was just being polite, but to be fair to him, he's not really going to invest in a trialist who he didn't bring in, is he? So I took nothing from it. And I signed for Bangor on a non-contract. Right. Yeah, well, I was always talking to the Spanish agents and clubs, but by me doing this, it was hopefully get a contract at Coventry. That would be ideal. If not, I'm training at a top level and I'm keeping fit. So that was me thought process. Now Bangor, the manager of Bangor was Ian Dawes. He was at Liverpool with me as a coach, so he knew me well. And he met with me and was like, please sign for us, we need a striker, what are your thoughts? And I was like, I don't want to get tied down because things could happen in Spain. Now, I don't think he really believed that I would go to Spain.
Yeah, it sounds like pie in the sky, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I think he was like, just sign on contract then, and then we'll let you go if you need to. That weekend we played Llandudno in the cup. We won 4-0 and I scored 2. So it was a good
debut for Bangor.
Yeah, it was a good debut. After it, the media's going crazy at Bangor. All the lads like, wow, you know what I mean? I go in the changing room and get a text off my agents. Did this deal for you? Let's go Baleares, Mallorca, Segunda B, great club, fighting for playoffs. Don't you do tomorrow morning? So I'm in the changing room celebrating with the lads, texting me, I'm going, book me a flight for tomorrow morning, I'm going to Spain.
You're still at Bangor's ground?
I'm still at Bangor's ground, yeah. I'm still at Bangor's ground while this is happening. So I actually left my gear in the changing room, went home, packed. The next morning, I went to the airport and then I rang the manager. I'm on the way to Spain.
A segona B, l'Atlètic Balears acaba de fer oficial el fitxatge de Luis Robles. Aquí el tenim. És un davanter anglès de 20 anys, format a les categories inferiors del Liverpool.
So let me, I'm going to run through some detail on Atletico Baleares, because obviously, and this is one thing I find surprising, and us having done the research, is how little I know about the way the Spanish league is structured. So Atletico Baleares, it's based on the island of Mallorca. Obviously not the biggest team, but as you said, they're Real Mallorca's local rivals. Yeah. There's a number of teams on Mallorca. It's a small island, but
loads.
The Spanish are football crazy. They've got a number of teams. They play in the third tier, so that's our equivalent of League One. Now, whereas our League One, League Two, and even National League is all national, it's regionalised at third tier level in Spain. Yeah. So there are 4 groups.
They actually changed groups. The year I was there, they were in the Catalunya group, in Group 3, which was Barca B, right. Valencia B, Levante B. Yeah, so my first game was Barca B at home.
Wow.
Now this just summed up my luck, to be honest, in them few years. I was probably going to start on the bench, but I would have definitely come on, because they needed a striker at this point, so I would have definitely come on. Wasn't fit enough to start, my first game back. But this just sums it up. The session, I think it was the Thursday session, we were doing sprint work, just in warm-ups. We had like a weight behind us in the vest. Now, I never used these before, so I was like, okay, so I've done it. And then I've stopped after me run. The weights come right behind me and whack me Achilles like that. I trained through it. The next day, my Achilles was like that. The size of it was like that. Now I had to get injections, also I couldn't play. So I was sitting in the stand against Barca B on my debut. So that just set the tone. The week after, I was fit, played against Sabadell, who were now in the championship in Spain, big club away. I come on last 10 minutes and scored a header, which was ruled offside, which it wasn't offside.
Well, in terms of the quality of this club, you alluded to it, German owners. The manager at the time was Christian Ziegler, who won't need any introduction. Some of your teammates included, there was Malik Fatih, who was a German international, 2 caps for Germany, played for Hertha Berlin, Mainz and 1860 Munich. You've got Marcel Dieng, a German-born Cameroonian international, 5 caps for Cameroon, played for Hertha Berlin, Borussia Mönchengladbach. You've got Luciano Becchio, played for Norwich and best known in the UK for playing for Leeds. You're a proper team.
Very, very well-run club. They just got a new stadium, which is brilliant. They had all the facilities that you need. it was a proper club. It felt like being a pro again. You know, it was a great environment, difficult to fit in. Now this is where I helped Sergi come in here. I had no one to help me go into this environment now because no one was English. A few German lads spoke broken English, but the age gap between me and the rest of the lads was a lot. It was a very Asian team. I was 19, 20. These lads were 30s. So to fit in was difficult for me. And now on Mallorca, they have their own dialect as well. So Mallorquin.
And when you say dialect, we're talking Scouse?
No,
it's a
different language.
Yeah.
Different language. Mallorquin, which is a dialect of Catalan, which I can't speak.
Yeah.
Now they spoke
Did you
that.
understand parts of it?
I got to the point where I understand words, but no, it's not that similar where you can just pick it up. It's not. You have to learn it properly. Now in the changing room, the lads would speak in that language, Mallorquin, in between themselves. So it was hard fitting in. It was difficult, but I used it for what it was. I worked hard and just stuck with it. Now I got a few appearances, I think I made 6, maybe 7, and it was all right. It was a good welcome back to professional football for me.
What was your lifestyle like then, off the pitch?
Well, I was on the doorstep of Magaluf for one. So when the lads came and see me, yeah, when the lads came and see me, it was a Magaluf a couple of nights. I always remember the lads in the team always just say to me, "Don't go to Magaluf, don't go to Magaluf," because they knew that I'd go there. Do you know what? When I had friends come over, we were in the playoffs and that. And they were going, "Don't you dare go to Magaluf." And I'm going, "I'm not going to go to Magaluf, I'm not stupid, I'm professional." And they were like, "No, don't go to Magaluf." And yeah, so...
You went to Magaluf?
No, I only went a couple of times, to be fair, when the lads came over on days off.
Were there preconceptions of you as an English boy? You know, the idea of the boozing culture and all that?
Yeah, definitely. They have very little respect for English out in Spain, especially in Mallorca. Which is understandable because they see what the English have done to the island in retrospect in Magaluf. So they haven't got a great name out in Spain, the English. So was that a little bit stereotypical behaviour put on me? Yeah, I did, but I didn't mind it. They just see me as like a brute who liked to drink, who liked to party, which I hardly drink. I don't drink. I don't party much at all. So it was very different to what I was.
What's the cultural difference football-wise?
No, that was something that I had
podcast on
that was something that I had to get used to. No, I thought it would be a case of it's just like that technical, you know, like Barcelona, but it's nothing like that at all. People have a misconception of the Spanish football. Now in the low leagues in Spain, it's very tactical. It's not technical, it's tactical. It's very much play for set pieces, don't concede, be hard to beat, clever fouls, take yellow cards if you have to, just win at all costs. Now, that's something that took me about a year to learn, but once I got the grip of it, I fit in well, which took me to Lepe, where I started to flourish out in Spain.
Well, let's move on to Lepe. So you moved to, this is Andalusia, and Seville, I guess, is the most famous city in Andalusia. This is in their equivalent of League Two, and again, this is, I say this for the listener, but for myself, from my own research of how Spanish football is divided up, I mean, it's quite extraordinary. Their fourth tier is divided into, I think I'm right in saying, 18 regional groups. Yeah. So it's heavily regionalised, which means there's a hell of a lot of clubs there. Again, a lot of B teams. So in your league at that time, there would have been, for example, Betis B, Sevilla B,
Cadiz B.
Cadiz B. And there's also, this fascinated me, I didn't understand Spanish geography as well as I thought I did. There was a team called AD Ceuta.
Ceuta, yeah.
Thank you. I knew I'd get that wrong. I'd actually even looked up the pronunciation wrong. So it's a city on the north coast of Africa. It borders Morocco. It's basically a peninsula which Spain owns. It's 50% Spanish, 50% Moroccan, and I guess Andalusia is the closest to that. So you're travelling there for away games on a boat, presumably.
Yeah,
to get there.
Wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, get the coach down to Algeciras, which is by Gibraltar, and you get the ferry over to Ceuta, which was crazy. I was sending lads Snapchats on the boat, so like the boat emoji, and they're all going, "What?" Like on the way to a game on a boat. And then you're basically in Morocco playing a game of football. It was an experience. It was crazy. It's hostile. It was probably the most hostile game I've ever played in that. I mean, there wasn't much police around. But I loved all that. I love it all. You know, it's an experience.
Yeah.
Get your blood going, your adrenaline going. I mean, it's a bit scary, of course it is, but it's something new, isn't it? You know.
And are you enjoying your football at this point?
Yeah, I'm loving it.
You're more of a key player in this.
Yeah, I'm starting every game now. I feel important. I get on very well with the manager. The manager was actually American, so he spoke English as well as Spanish. His son played and become my best mate in the team. It was a very diverse team. We had Brazilians, French, Argentinians. I think we had a few Italians. We had literally nations from all around the world playing for our team. So it was a good mix.
It's interesting because you played at League Two clubs, Fraser, and they weren't as diverse as that in terms of countries. We do have players in League One and League Two that come from abroad, but they're few and far between. And it's interesting that in that club there is that mix. I mean, what was your experience of lads coming over and playing League One, League Two football?
Few and far between in the lower leagues. I think you touched on it before about foreign influences coming over in Liverpool. It's not really the case, and often it's because those foreign lads come in at the top level that the English lads such as Louis filter down to the lower league. So you end up getting myself, I was at Chelsea, so I ended up filtering down the leagues, and these top English academy prospects end up filtering down, becoming League 1 and 2 players, which is probably why the national team suffered so much in the last 10-20 years, because pathways been blocked for the local lads. So I don't think it is very diverse in the lower leagues especially, but for me it's you look at Louis' journey there, and what are you, 20 at this point, 21?
At this point 21, yeah.
Most lads in his position have spent 2 years in an under-23 system or have gone into the lower leagues for a couple of years, and you've already
played in 3 countries. No, 4.
Yeah.
Played in 4 countries and got this life experience at the age of 21, which a lot of people don't really get in their life. So it comes from an academy, and it can show you that success comes in different forms, and an academy setup can bring these sort of opportunities further down the line.
I always knew that I wanted to play in Spain from a young age. I always knew it appealed to me. I'd go on holiday there with my family for 6 weeks at a time. I loved Spain. I loved the culture, the people, the food, and the football, the crazy about football over there, even more so than here. If that's possible. It's crazy out there.
We know you're incredibly ambitious and you want to get as far back up those football leagues as possible. Did you see a pathway in Spain to achieve that?
No, I didn't. No. Initially, I did because I was 20, so I thought I should try and get into a B team here and play in the leagues. But the B teams are heavily consisted of like 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds. So when I got to like 21, I thought I'm not going to get into a B team. I'm too old.
Yeah. At 21.
Yeah. Well, that's the reality of the B team in Spain. So I always knew either try and get promoted with the team that you're at a couple of times and then make it, or go elsewhere. And the team I was at was nowhere near getting promoted. So Grimsby came calling, and now this was a move that I couldn't turn down. Now it's a chance to get back in the English system. It was never a case of my team's going to play around you, you're going to be there. So I was very aware of what I was getting myself into. At a club where the fan base is crazy, I could live back in England and it's unfinished business again in England. Now being ready in a men's environment after doing so many years in Spain, America and whatnot. So I thought, this is it. Now this is the time to get back into the English system, not on trial, but being wanted, and see where it takes me.
And this is summer 2018, so you're about 21 at this point?
Yeah, 21, 22, yeah, 21.
Did it work out like that?
Not at all, no. I mean, I came back fit, done well in all of the fitness test, but it was very clear that my game time was just limited. Even in pre-season, I didn't get 90 minutes once in pre-season. I didn't get more than 60 minutes, I don't think, in the pre-season. The max game time I got was against Cleethorpes Town, when it was the first pre-season game, and that was 45 minutes. Now, to impress in 10 minutes, 15 minutes when you come on pre-season games, it's impossible. I was just plodding on, just hoping for a chance, hoping for a sniff, which I wasn't getting.
A lot of, a lot of managers in the lower leagues I've come across and that I've worked with, they tend to like players that have got 100 league games, 200 league games at that level. At this point, you've not played.
Yeah.
You've come through Wigan, but do you think your time away and in Spain is almost a little bit? I think clubs are too narrow-minded in this country and think, he's playing in Sweden or he's playing in Spain.
Yeah.
You're off the radar a little bit. Do you think that held you back a little bit?
Probably didn't trust me, but again, I'm thinking, you've put so much effort into bringing me in. Why is this now that you don't want to know me pretty much, or play me, or even count on me in any way, shape or form, which was difficult to comprehend for me, because I got around with the lads in training. I was doing all right. Once I had the world on fire, I wasn't, but I was doing all right. Was I worthy of a chance? Yeah, because at the time, Grimsby was struggling. We weren't scoring many goals at all. I was driving home a lot. I lived with a few lads in Grimsby, and I was driving home a lot to see my mates and my family, and just to keep my mind off it, because it was tough at the time. It was. I wasn't enjoying it at this point now. I was like, I'm living so far away from home, not playing, not on that good money, and well, what's the point, pretty much? But you just got to keep going. That's all. I just kept going, and saw it out till Christmas when he called me. Well, actually, I went to the office with him, and I was like, why am I getting a chance? It was quite a heated discussion, to be fair, because at this point I was quite emotional. I was quite passionate in what I thought should have happened or could have happened, and he was just basically said to me, I don't think you're good enough. So I was like, fair enough. And then as soon as he said that, something switched in my head. And then the next few sessions, I started doing better. It's sort of like I needed to prove him wrong a little bit. Because in my head I was like, okay, your opinion's fine, but you've not seen me in a League 2 game for more than 10 minutes to make that assumption up. You're just saying that because you think that, not because you've seen it. So there's no evidence behind it.
With the move to Grimsby not going according to plan, Louis got in touch with his old manager at Lepe and negotiated a move back to Andalusia.
Now, this was probably, it was an emotional move more than a clever move, I think. It was just to get back and enjoy football when I knew there was no pathway to it. There was just going to be, you get some good games, some good teams, and I enjoy it, but then what? After the season, then what? So at this point now was when I'd had a really good reality check of where I'm at and where I want to be and how I'm going to get there. Now, I come home, I didn't go on holiday that summer at all. I didn't think I deserved it. I didn't want to. I wanted to just to knuckle down and just figure out what I needed to do. My options were stay in Spain, go to another decent club, because I had a few offers, could done all right out there, but nothing was more than 1 year contracts in the lower leagues in Spain. Now I needed something that would like propel me to the next level now. My friend Nathan Burke rang me and was like, Bala, we need a striker, would you come? And then I left them waiting for weeks, to be honest. I messed them around a little bit, I did, because I didn't really want to go there, if I'm being honest. Part-time.
Suspicion on the Welsh League on your part?
No, because I knew there was the European incentive, it's on TV, you get your name back, your shit, all these little things that things important. It is important.
And there's nothing like Welsh commentary on the Louis Robles.
Oh yeah, the Scorio, it's funny, isn't it?
Good meddion to Henry Jones and Byrguth, Smith and all that Jones. Robles! Am goal i'r Bala, mae'n bedair, oedd hi'n bedair, yn erbyn y dre newydd pan wythnos diwetha, mae'n bedair.
Yeah, so I signed a 1 year deal at Bala, and from the get-go, I absolutely loved it. I was happy. It was happy. I was playing football. I was doing really well, enjoying it, and I was in a good place now. And it seemed like things were falling into place a little bit now. It did get to a point though when I needed to get a job. I did. All the lads had jobs because financially I needed to have two sources of income at this point. So I decided to go into a teaching assistant in S&E schools, which was an eye-opener. You know, these are like violent kids with severe autism and ADHD, But I loved it, absolutely loved it. It was an eye-opener for me.
This is in Liverpool?
Yeah, I was in Liverpool, yeah. And I loved it. I did it part-time, 3 days a week. I thought I'd struggle because I've never worked before. But I absolutely loved it.
It can be tough. It can be tough for, for lads like you that have come through an academy system.
Yeah.
It is almost another thing where you have to swallow your pride a little bit, and you're probably seeing ex-teammates who are, you said your teammates were Harry Maguire, you're seeing him play for England in the World Cup, and now you're going and getting a job.
Yeah.
You can suffer with comparing yourself and thinking, do I really go and get this? And it's testament that you do have to put your pride to it.
Yeah, you just have to. Well, I always try to remember where I'm at. I'm not where I was now. This is where I'm at now in the present, and what I need to do now is to try and figure out a way of getting back to where I want to be.
You'd done well at Ballatown, and presumably that meant you had English clubs interested in you, but you chose the big team in Wales.
Yeah.
Why did you choose the New Saints?
Well, it was a weird time for me. Well, not for me, for every footballer with this COVID outbreak. Now, I did sense that a lot of players would be out the game at this point, so it was important for me to get something knuckled down early. Now, TNS were monitoring me pretty much all season. I met the manager on a couple of occasions, and he expressed his interest in me. And after speaking to him and speaking to a few of the lads there, it was, I'm watching them play. Like the way they play football is unbelievable. It is like the Welsh Barcelona. It's like tiki-taka. It's ridiculous how they play for that level, and it's full time. I can live at home. I just thought it was a no-brainer, playing Europe.
Was part of your decision the experience that you had at Grimsby, where you're now getting an offer from TNS who are saying, like, you're our main man, here's a contract offer straight away. Did you feel like if you held out and went to a League 2 club or a League 1 club that you might end up, having a similar experience to the one at Grimsby?
Most definitely, because this was a club that expressed interest in for me to be a player for them, not a squad player, but an actual starting player. And as well, it was a league that I've done well in, so it's a league I feel comfortable in. I've been back now for a few weeks in pre-season with them, preparing for a Europa League game, and now I've made my decision, because all lads are great, the coaching staff do things properly, and it's a proper club, TNS. It is like a League 1, League 2 ranked club. It is, it's proper.
Louis' decision to seek European glory with the New Saints paid early dividends, with him making his Europa League debut this season and scoring the opener in a famous 3-1 win over Slovakian champions MSK Žilinka.
Yeah, it's about legacy now. It's about stamping an authority in the game. It's making a legacy of the game now. So for me, it's not about bouncing around clubs. It's about doing the things with clubs now. So can I win the Welsh League? Can I win the Welsh Cup? Can I win a few rounds in the Europa League qualifying phase? That's what it's about for me now.
Brilliant. Louis, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to
thank you.
Thank you very much for your investigation.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Football Journeys, and thank you to all those who supported us. Do come and find us on social media at JourneysPod on both Twitter and Instagram, where we'll be sharing more content. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us on footballjourneys@b5consultancy.com or visit our webpage, b5consultancy.com/footballjourneys.
This podcast is produced by B5 Consultancy alongside Ricky Valentine, who himself had an academy journey with me at Brentford FC. Special thanks goes to the Hope Street Hotel for their hospitality and Liverpool FC for supplying some of their archive footage.
Lastly, thanks to the lads for telling their stories, and to the contributors who gave up their time to share their memories of the lads. Please do like and subscribe. If you feel we deserve a 5-star rating, then please give us one. The more successful this podcast is, the better chance we have of producing more episodes and further series.